Hey everybody, DayTraderRockStar with you, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of March 16th. That's in 3 days. It's Friday, and we just had another historic day to the upside. Now, this, as I'm sure you're aware of what the hell is going on here with the coronavirus and the markets and the fear out there. And it's amazing. It's bringing a lot of interest back into the markets. A lot of traders are tuning in. So I'm sending this out here. Big shout out to all the new listeners out there, all the new members of Day Trading Radio. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's just talk about the situation at hand and the volatility and the market ranges. 1,000, 2,000 point days back to back is incredible. It really is. It's incredible. It's unheard of. It's historical in nature. Now, we typically, well, myself, deal with technical levels, things that, algorithms pick up on, trading boxes, anything like that. We are able to find the pattern in the market and exploit that to our profits, because we know other people are looking for those levels too. We've also know how to one way call a market and determine which way when the market has a better chance of moving in a certain direction, and we have some indicators to help us with that. So all that put together works great, and when the things are great, but when you have news out here, a black swan event, everything goes out the table. I mean, it becomes an area where most likely a lot of people got stuck in this. I have my options and stuff. They got they exploded and imploded, and then I have my ones way out that I'm still holding. But yeah, I mean, I think unless you were short or hedged, which we tried our best at hedging, a few of the weekends before this, we would go short into the weekend and it would pay off, and you get that. But the last few days, unbelievable. I wasn't short. I should have been short. It happened so fast and you kind of get absorbed into it. You try to hold your own opinions about how everything's working out, but the truth is no one really knows, because it's the first time we're going through this. So we can only go back to what we know and stuff. So everyone has a different opinion on this virus. We have great conversations on Day Trading Radio about it. There's all kinds of blame being thrown, and there's always two sides of each story, or every story. This has totally become a political thing, and when you're involved with the market, you kind of feel that a little bit more. Like, wow, this is kind of a little overreaction in my case, and what I feel. Again, this is my opinion, but personally, I feel like the media has blown this up so much, and has caused so much panic and fear that it just now it's just something that media grabs onto, and the more they push it out, the more viewers they have, and more people get sucked into this, and it's the way of the nature of the beast right now. So this is the world we live in, instantaneous news and events and stuff, and we get to track every single case that comes out. There's a new case there in Florida. Let's put that on the news. Let's scare some more people, because it becomes so embedded now that everyone's talking about it, and now everyone's double thinking and saying, maybe I do need toilet paper. Everyone else is getting it, and they're getting it. So it's causing these problems, and the problems are being seen in the markets too, no doubt. I mean, so there's my corona kicking in again. So what are we looking at next week? Well, in my opinion, my view of things, that the market will adjust to this back up. The markets always overextend themselves in fear, because we can't gauge this. We can't measure it. We don't know what we're measuring it against and stuff. But all the time, every single time, it always overshoots itself. Now, we could overshoot a little bit more maybe, but things I think would have to get really, really bad, because right now, everyone's out in the news. The president did this big speech. They're doing stimulus. They did the rate cuts. They're going to do some more rate cuts. They're going to do everything they can, and the cat's out of the bag. This is no longer sneaking up on us. Market's going to recognize that. It's going to trade forward, knowing that things are starting to get a little better. We might see it over in Europe or in China, or they might come up with something. But, we definitely overreacted here. To guess what's going to happen on Monday. All you could say is I think the administration came out with this, with their announcement here just recently, and their whole plan about testing and stuff after Pelosi came out, and it was kind of one after another. But the market really ran, and had a series of experts, CEOs from different companies come out and talk about it, and it really came off really professional. I think the market actually liked that a lot, and I would expect, especially President Trump, how he pays attention to the market so much that he would take advantage of the momentum and will not want to lose that momentum again on Sunday night and have another gap down. There's going to be news out over the weekend on viruses and maybe outbreaks and stuff, but overall, he has a new week next week, and I think he's going to want to use this momentum into next week. So Sunday he's supposed to make a speech or some kind of announcement, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Monday some global announcements, and I think we actually move up Monday. That's my call on that. This is actually a nice spacing pattern on the 5-minute, but you can see this was the news at the end of the day. So how do we profit from that? There was a very hard dealing with all this. The volatility is there. If you trade in the futures, you're making a lot of money if you're on the right side of the trade. So, the short term, I would have to continue to, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me move this over here. Defer to the Rockbot. I had the Rockbot running the last 2 days, and it's been just running and almost being flawless. I mean, even with the volatility here. See, I don't know if we're going to be able to pick everything up here, but this is the bot right here, and this was actually today's, and you can see how organized it is. And these are divergence, short and long divergences on the 1 minute time frame. I've been filling in some of the charts, but I don't think it missed a move today. And each one of these moves are identified. So it's, what? For this short term trading, that's fine. Bring it on. For longer term trading, or what we should be getting into, this section of the video is going to go over that right now. All right, so I kind of went over all my crap. What I think about this. It's over. This is definitely being shoved down our throats, but I can't really predict if it's going to get worse or not. I'm more of an optimist, and I think that the market will see through this, and in a couple of months, this will totally be behind us, and people will be scratching their heads and saying, "That's another." And that'll never happen again. The market, kind of will adjust to that, and we have another virus. It won't be so effective like it is right now, or at least in the news, I should say, affecting the markets. So there's a lot of stocks out there. If you're looking for the market to move back up, I mean, there's actually probably still some good shorts out there, but we're going to concentrate on a list of stocks, maybe around 10 to 12 stocks. So get out your paper and pen, and I'm going to give you the updates on all these. I'm just going to show you the technical levels. You're going to write them down. All right, and I'll tell you why these all look good here. So, again, American Tower, it's a 5G play. It's been holding up really good in this environment. So you can just tell this relative strength. All these stocks and everything is way under here, under the 200-period moving average, the S&P. This is holding above the 200-period moving average. Close just is above it. Close back above the 50 and the 20. It just looks super strong right now. So, I mean, technically speaking, this is a very strong stock. You would expect this, if the market started rallying Monday, this should actually start to take off and possibly even take out the highs. It actually looks that good. Budweiser. The reason I bring this one up, there's a lot of these charts you're going to see, I'm going to point out certain levels. And this is a really intense trend line. It started back here, 2016, end of 2016, 2018, and big channel, and we're right down here now with all the sporting events being canceled. Budweiser is definitely going to get hit. I like this a lot because it's already come down to a big trend line, but I would be looking for a announcement or some lowering of their guidance coming out, pre-warning about, of course, the obvious. They're not going to be selling as much beer as they normally are. First of all, sporting events. All right, so this is going to probably get hit again, and I think it's a buy on that because I bet you this is kind of kind of priced in. But this is where I think they announced one of the teams, so it really did gap down. That's when the NBA announced it, right? And this, we didn't really bounce too much. Again, I'm watching it down here. I'd be looking at it if they came out and warned and they threw out the the kitchen. They threw everything out, the kitchen sink and everything. And this, you could get this down here closer to the 30s, high 30s would be great. So it's one on the watch list. Kind of keep it tight. TDOC. This is TDOC. This is all the rage now because of the Ebola. The Corona, COVID. And I think this was even mentioned on Trump's speech this afternoon, talking about how this teledoctoring is taking off. So this is basically teledoc. So you can see exactly what happened. It went from 112 to almost 140, 138. That's a big move, and then kind of came back down. So this might have a lot of play in the future. It's a recent IPO. We go back on a weekly. Was it a recent? Yeah, going back to, well, not that recent. 2015. That's not as recent as I thought. I have another better one, but that's in play. It's in play. All right, let's just get to the next one. I probably don't see myself getting into that one. Now we're all looking at Boeing here, and I picked up a little bit more Boeing yesterday at a pretty decent price. All right, Boeing here. Now, Boeing is one that I'm holding. I'm in underwater on my Boeing. I started off buying Boeing real small. I bought a couple of 10 shares at a time, another 10 shares at the time, another 10. I had 35 shares, and my cost, I was $274. So I held on to those into that pullback. I actually bought some more, bring my cost average down today or yesterday. So I bought 15 more, brought those shares up to 50 shares now. I'm holding Boeing here, and my cost average is 240. So I'm down about 3,000 and change on this. I'm happy with it here. I don't know if I want to add to it, and again, it's in some cases might not be a big position, but it's definitely underwater, but I feel comfortable with it. I feel like that's not a bad. In this environment and the bad news on this, I think that we're going to get that back real fast. I want to pay attention to it. Maybe I'll get another 5-10 shares at most if I feel like we start to rally and I want to jump on board. But the news is bad news is still out there. But this has gotten real. It seems to be gotten real cheap. That's an update on that. So I did pick up 15 more shares this week at 159 and change. What was it? 150 something. 159 and change, I believe. Yeah, 159.78. 92. I did pick up some MDT also, but let me go back onto my list here. I just wanted to update you on that. So we're going down the list. I wanted to look at a couple with you. One was Regeneron, which I believe was looking pretty good on the chart here. I do believe they have something going on with the Corona. I wanted to point that out. A very nice thing. I have to look into it more, and I don't see myself adding or getting into that one. But this one's going to end up being one of the best bets probably going forward. United Healthcare, it's actually another great company, good stock, holding the 200 period moving average. Big reversal candle. We flushed out. Whenever we flush out of a, let me see here. Where's my thing here going? When we flush out and we take out at least 40 days of lows, that's what I consider a good flush. Now, you can see that candle did come down. It did flush it out. It just was a good level. Really, we had to take care of this low here. Then we reversed and closed on the highs. Starting to kind of give us a little divergence. And this is one of those very strong stocks that probably got hit on when Bernie Sanders was coming on strong in the election. hasn't really gotten affected too much by the coronavirus, and I would say that soon going forward has got to be one of the best bets for along here. You're probably going to get a gap up on this. It's going to be hard. It does gap a bit, but anything above that 273 area, 273 high. So that's one of the best bets. Now, really hate the oil stocks. Schlumberger, big name, quality name and stuff. I got some down here, on this breakdown. So I'm curious to see how well if it does start to move back up. I don't know how much confidence in it, but of the oil and gas stocks right now, that is it. Schlumberger down here. Again, that's a higher risk. That's not a high probability trade. I would not put. Merck here is another one that I am really liking. And actually a nice candle today. Flushed out the lows. I would go so far to call this a bottom on this. I think next week we break out. It was in the process of actually breaking out before we got all this scare and actually gapped down, because everything gapped down. But this came back strong. It's back into the channel. Keeps on coming back into the channel. A much better candle with some volume. Hasn't turned back up yet to give us a pure divergence. But this is a quality name, and it hasn't fallen that much. It did get through to 200, but you can tell it's trying. There's a lot of positive candles that keep on coming back. So this is definitely looking good down here. I have it. And we will put that one on the list. I like it so much that I will put it on the HPS list. With a break above that 70, we'll call it 77. Yeah, I'm going to just call that high here. Just make a higher high. We'll call it 77.20. Let me see that. Is that Merck? 77.20. I want to put that on the HPS watch list, so you have that alerted. When it gets alerted to you, it'll send out an alert. That's the important thing. So Merck here going to be on it. I already already sent one out this afternoon. I'll show you that in a second. Now, a couple of the big drug stocks that were waiting on FDA stuff, of course, got nailed here. I mean, everything got nailed. It came back pretty good today. We'll see if we could get right back up above $18 on this, which we should. I think we could easily get back up. When everything's happening, there's so much fear out there. It's very hard to add to down here. Very hard. I think I added. What did I get here? Let me see what I bought. If I did add to that. Thought I added to that. Not maybe back here I did. I still like it. I like this a lot. Actually, everything it's oversold. Has a big reversal candle. Took out the recent lows, and that was even better because that flushed everything. Sorry about that phone call. So yeah, this one still has some good trials. The question here, as I put out to anybody, if anybody has any information on it, do the FDA clinical trials that are happening for certain drugs, they have drugs in clinical trials, does that get kind of delayed because of the big corona fears and stuff? I don't know if the FDA stops working. Are they on leave for 2 weeks? Because that would not be good. Because we're like right in the same month that we're expecting news out on these stocks. So gotta really I'm holding on to them, expecting good news, expecting this to come back. I think this is actually a great buy down here because it'll probably get back up to this level before the news comes out. And even if the news came out down here, hopefully that news would be able to propel this stock much higher either way. So kind of an opportunity down here, and it looks like it was a great opportunity today at 1440 or anywhere in the 14s. It's closed above 16 and closed on the highs. So it looks good for going into next week. I like it a lot. I like the downward channel. I like the news out in front of us. This is actually one of my favorites. It's not an HPS type of setup because we're waiting on the news, and I'm not telling people to technically buy it. I would buy it to hold it if you believe that there was going to be some good data or good results. All right, so next one here, of course, the other one would be AUPH. And the same deal. This one's a little bit more irritating because their trials are not due until mid-year, and you have to deal with the pullback, and it's actually starting to pull back into the big gap. The good thing is we took a lot of profits on the pop, and I've slowly been getting back in, but mainly with options going out to January. So in one way, I don't really care because I feel like that I have so much time before this. But in others, it is still getting hit. It's going to make things a little bit more. It's just I'd rather it push higher. I don't want it to go down. So that's the state on that. And again, probably has some good stuff coming down. There's a lot of catalysts on this one, but also being hit by the fear, the market fear, and the market sell-off. AUPH. I am not adding to it. I have all my calls I want to have for now. LUV. Like this airline. First of all, a domestic airline. Second of all, a fantastic trend line underneath us. Third of all, good reversal candle, closing on the highs. Everything looks good. Not looking for a tremendous trade in here, but I think you could get another 3 points on this. 3 points, Yeah, I think we get back up here. Another 3 points higher on the LUV, and that's the only airline I concentrate on. Alaska, sometimes I do. All the airlines are going to have the same basic setup, but you can see Alaska Airlines only came back into the previous candle halfway up. If we look at the LUV, it actually took out the previous high. It's a much more bullish candle, already starting to work into that gap. So that does look really good. LUV. All right, and here are the stocks these are the best of the best, the cream of the crop stocks that we watch every month for opportunities. I'm just going to update you on them all. Waste Management, huge bounce today. It was right on the lower trend line. I mean, you couldn't get a better setup. You cannot get a better setup than that. Still looks good, but it's probably going to chop around here. But anything above $100, if it comes back down to around 100, it looks great. If you even get that opportunity. That is Waste Management. Lockheed Martin. I haven't been in an aerospace and defense stock in a while. Decent reversal candle, closed on the highs. I don't know. Should it be affected by the coronavirus and everything? I mean, why is it getting hit down here? So it's starting to look interesting to me. I might look into that this week. Technically speaking, it's hard to put a buy trigger with the volatility and the range that is that's setting up here. It's not the, it doesn't give us the patterns we want to really give us good triggers. So we really want to look at the 60-minute time frame, and that 60-minute time frame will be a better entry because of the movement. We could probably start to see better patterns playing out here. We could probably see divergences playing out. So Lockheed Martin, watching for that divergence. We're up against a trend line right now. We're getting overbought. Do we end up one more dip down here? But remember that. Use that 60-minute time frame. MDT. I have this one. I just started getting back into it right before the crash. Right back here. So I'm down on it. But not that bad. I mean, it's definitely overdone. Definitely overdone. I'm in at 92.50. So right about here. 92.50. That's where I got in. It went down a little bit further. But I think we're in good shape right there. I think I'm in great shape, actually. I mean, just to push back up to the 20-period moving average. And again, what does this have to do with, hard pumps and stuff? How is it Corona going to kind of impact this stock? How is it? Why is it reset all the way back down to 2019 lows? Big double bottom back there. It's really a triple bottom with a huge candle off of this, and that's on the daily. So this is a great spot down here. Absolutely fantastic spot. It has to be one of my best bets too. So MDT, circle that for a big best bet. Again, the same situation. I'd be accumulating it down here. Hard to just say here buy the high. I would say this is the range. Give yourself understand that this, you could chop around here for a while, but this is going to actually play out pretty good, and you might not have an opportunity come Monday on this, but I would say that would be your sphere of influence. Start buying down here, buying here. As you go down, eventually that price will be up here again. So you might, be a couple candles. We're not about to call a stock in this type of environment, but we know that these levels are really good. And everything should be taken down on a fractional base, not a full-size position, until we know that the worst is behind us. We don't want any sneak attacks here. MDT here looks great, absolutely great. So this one, tight stops will recognize this one. Stanley Black and Decker SWK. This is always one I'd like. It was a very nice looking stock most of the year. Last year, just kind of moved on up. I had this downward channel that we were trading. I think we were involved in it way back over here, when it was in this channel. Technically speaking, it starts off with a 1, 2, 3, 4, really a 1, 2, 3 pattern. 1, 2, 3 patterns. You draw that top trend line over those two major pivots, usually the high of the day and the next high. You extend that all the way down. And then you just put a parallel trend line here. Now this might have been a capitulation move out of this thing because we came back into it, held it, retested it, and retested it again. So you see how important it is sometimes to put that trend line in, and if it matches up and the price comes through it, look at how much selling was involved here. This was a serious sell-off in this, and it had the momentum to blow us through this. But whenever you see that, and that's sometimes hard to see while it's happening, you can always look back and say, wow, that was some serious selling, and we blew through this, and now look how well that trend line held up. But it does. You have to put that extra work in here. So, or just let's get these videos sent to you because I want to point them out to you. So we came back to the trend line, we came back to it again, and we finally broke through and kind of chopped around it. We came back to it again, and now we're back down to it again. So it's a pretty decent retracement trend line, and there's kind of a breakout high here, 2015-2016 breakout high. It just looks like a good level, and these are great stocks to get into. I mean, tools and accessories. Are we just going to stop? Everything's going to continue. Everything's going to continue. This is not stopping the world. We're not going to Stone Ages or anything. We're not doing anything other than taking care of business, and then we're gonna ramp right back up. We're gonna ramp right back up. We're probably gonna have some kind of infrastructure package soon and stuff. And these stocks are gonna look like a bargain down here. So this is a great IRA type of stock. Discounted. Time to get in. A few shares just to hold, to build some wealth. It's a good setup there. Stanley Black and Decker, circle that one. And again, longer term trade. You gotta let this play out a bit. Very hard to call that breakout area to be the breakout area. Well, I just got my flights. I am putting this SWK on the HBS watch list, and that'll be 111.70. So that'll be alerted to you. It'll be sent out instantaneous to your text or email, no matter however you have it set up on the site. You'll get that. But this looks like a good buy here. I would take it on strength, and I mean everything is lined up here. Again, I hate to put this disclaimer in here. Anything happens, the president gets corona over the weekend, he announces it, the stock's probably going to gap down, But this is going to be, we're going to look back at these zones, and they're going to be really good. Now here's another good one that a lot of people trade it. It has a good reputation on Wall Street as a good trading stock. Look at this large pattern. I mean, I'm not calling this anything, just large headed, inverted head and shoulders pattern. But I'm looking at this underlying trend line. And you can see we tagged it even from the beginning. The little candlestick dips, we came down to it perfectly. And we're down to it again. I mean, it's hard not to throw this out for you to have as a divergence play too. It looks like it's starting to set up. There was a little divergence play here, and we actually had a nice bounce in the middle of all this craziness that we call life. But yeah, everyone has their stocks to trade. I don't trade AAP, Advanced Auto Parts. I just do not. But there's your setup. There's your underhand pitch. I just gave it to you. ROKU. You know what? I'm very surprised that this has gotten hit as much as it has, because people are talking about self-quarantine. You would actually think that ROKU would benefit from more people staying inside and watching TV, as the video game makers would be too. ATVI, which that did have a nice pop. Everyone's into video games. I guess no one's into watching TV. ROKU. So, it's probably just overvalued, but it did come down pretty good. We actually came down to that breakout. Wow, that looks like a good area right here. I just realized that myself. This is where we retraced all the way out to the breakout. Look at the bounce we get off of this. I mean, these technical levels are being identified, just like I'm identifying them to you right now. Volume's starting to pick up a little here too. So, kind of like this level. I have it from 104, it's 80. I'm down 20 points on it, but I have small shares. So I'm going to start the video back up. Starting the video back up here, and just emphasizing one more time the importance of this breakout, because the breakout that happened here when we had some good earnings on this at this point really broke that out and made it run and continue to run, and it broke out again. Earnings, these are earnings moves. Earnings were really good. Then it sold off, got back up here, but we're all the way back down to the original level, where we really broke out of a long, this is technically a perfect support level. And again, the disclaimer is, if anything weird happens, of course, everything could sell off if the market sells off. Technicals go out the window. The system goes out, the methodology, everything goes out the window, because there's fear and panic in the market. All right, so next stop, what stock? So ROKU, let's take a look here. The RockBot. Yeah, I was going to mention the RockBot and how well that did today. I mentioned it earlier in the video, but I'll go back over there and know that I'm in the process of getting those codes out to everyone. Like I said, look at me. I'm doing the watch list right now. I don't have much free time, but I have everything set up now, and I'm working on that. But that was a really great day on the RockBot, and really, in this environment, and people get so frustrated in holding longs and seeing their counts go down. If you're flat and you want to take advantage of the markets during the day, this is the best way to do it. Is trading. I would recommend definitely just trading some of the micros, the MES or whatever the other micros are. We have a lot of traders to do that, and this tool helps you so much. And it's just, unless there's news out there, this thing is killing it. And that's another thing. If there is news, you just have to realize that when to use it and when not to use it. So that's on the that's for those out there who have that upgrade on the lifetime. So if you're interested in that, talk to me or Paul. Let's see what else we have. I think that was it on the stocks. There was a few other stocks that, of course, everyone's talking about. The JP Morgan and that had a huge pop. And again, when things are really bad and the fear is really bad, that's when you really need to step in. I looked at J.P. Morgan yesterday and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to wait one more day. And then today it was just everything was off the hook to the upside. But, you know, another technical support level. Technicals are still working. You know, I'll leave you with this. If there's anything negative that comes out, yeah, everything, it does nothing matters. It doesn't matter. It's just the market will be affected by that negative news. It'll drop because people are selling funds and stuff, and money's, you know, there's liquidations and margin calls, and there's basket of stocks, and it doesn't mean that your individual stock's not going to bounce back. It's just that you're going to have to deal with that. But overall, I think within the next week, next week we start off with a rally. I think there's too much momentum going into the weekend with the last speech that they want that to, you know, fall on deaf ears Sunday night when the futures open. They need to lead the economy back by showing strength in the stock market, because most people know what the stock market is, and they reflect and they look and they get the confidence from the stock market. In a weird way, that's an important thing to keep. People look at it and say, well, the market's up, it must be good, you know? It must be the right thing. The market's approved of it. And that's important. A lot of people don't think about that. So, we'll see. You're either looking for a total collapse of society and want to short the market, or you have to have a little common sense and then see that this has happened over and over again, and these opportunities that come along, they come along every few years. Where the worst it appears that be happening, then that's where you probably should be buying, and we'll probably look back and it'll be much higher. And you'll go back to this video and Johnny called it right again. Took 5 years, but he called it. Bill Gates is stepping down from Microsoft. All right, well, I don't know how that affected the stock. Let's see what happened after hours here. Is that new news or news after hours? I believe that was news after hours. Oh, but it's actually upward news. It's good news. Well, it doesn't, I can't tell. It doesn't look like it has an effect. I don't know if the news, this is the ramp up that everything got that ramp up. So, doesn't seem to be affecting Microsoft after hours at all. We got a lot of work to do in this market if you're expecting some upside. A lot of work. A lot of levels here. But I think tomorrow we could get up there. I think we could have another, actually next week, Monday, Tuesday, I think we could have a knock your socks off rally. That's it. I'll see everyone in the markets on Sunday. I want to shut off the video right now, but I will continue to broadcast tonight. And I'll see everyone then. Bye.